In this video, we'll talk about setting tension on your Highland embroidery machine. Proper tension is essential for good embroidery on your embroidery machine, as having bad tension can lead to thread breaks, bird nesting, bobbin threads showing up through the top of your designs, and much more, leading to bad embroidery overall. We set tension in three ways on your machine. First, you have your pre-tension knobs, which are up on your thread tree. You have your main tension knobs located on your tension base, and you have your bobbin tension, which is found on your bobbin case. When setting tension, we're wanting to create a tug-of-war of sorts where there's no winner. You want the top thread and your bobbin thread pulling at equal strength so that we have flat stitching, we don't have any loops, we don't have bobbin thread showing up through. That way we just have good embroidery. There's no real cookie-cutter way to set your tension knobs. No position where you're going to have great tension. Instead, to figure out how our tension looks and how we need to adjust it, we'll run an H test. It's a design where there's 15 H's where we can test all 15 needles on your machine to see how the tension looks on every single needle. Before we run our H test, we'll want to make sure our bobbin tension is set properly, as having poor bobbin tension is going to give us poor embroidery, both on our H test and when we're running our customers' designs. To set our bobbin tension, we'll need to put our bobbin thread in our bobbin case, and then all I want to do is grab onto the thread and move my hand up and down. And every time I move my hand up and down, I want to see that bobbin case drop about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. If my bobbin case is dropping too much, if it's dropping upwards of 2 to 3 inches, I want to tighten up the tension on my bobbin case by turning this small flathead screw to the right. If I'm not dropping at all, if I'm dropping less than 1 inch, not dropping at all on the bobbin case, I want to then loosen up my tension on my bobbin case by turning this same screw to the left. A little adjustment on this is going to go a long way, in that I really only want to turn this screw about 1/4 turn each time to where I'll really see an impact. That little adjustment is usually all that it takes. For a more precise adjustment, if I want to be really exact in how I'm adjusting my bobbin tension, I can use a bobbin tension gauge. So this will give me a clear reading on where my bobbin tension is set at. We just finished running an H test on this design, so we'll take off our hoop and look at the results. We look at the top of our fabric, and we see all 15 H's look pretty good. We don't have any loops in our stitching. We don't have bobbin thread showing up through. Everything looks pretty good. To determine the real results, though, what we'll look at is the back of our H test, where we want to see even thirds of colored thread, white thread, which is our bobbin thread, and another third of colored thread. Seeing those thirds tells us we have proper tension. We look specifically here at this black H. Okay, this is a pretty good looking H as far as I'm concerned, in that we have those even thirds. You have 1/3 of black thread, another 1/3 of white bobbin thread, and then our last 1/3 of black thread again. I would say we don't have to adjust anything on this H. However, you look above it on our red H, and you'll see that we don't have any bobbin thread really showing up through on the back of our design at all. Okay, we have a lot of colored thread, but not enough bobbin thread. This would tell me that my tension on that needle, in this case is needle number 4, it would tell me my tension's a little too loose, in that we have too much of our colored thread showing up on the back of our design. To fix this, all I would need to do is tighten up both my pre-tension knob and my main tension knob by turning them to the right. I would want to tighten them up a couple turns before I'm really ever able to see any effect. Again, I want to tighten them by turning them to the right. Say there was an instance here on the back of our H's where I had one H where I saw nothing but white thread, nothing but my bobbin thread showing up on the back of the design. That would tell me that my top tension is going to be too tight. I'm not allowing enough of my top thread to show up through the fabric. And so in this case, what I would need to do is loosen my both my main tension knob and my pre-tension knob by turning them to the left. Again, a couple turns to really see an impact. I would need to loosen those by turning them to the left. Say on my, like we have here on my red H, where I have no bobbin thread showing up on the back of the design. Say I had that, but on all 15 H's. I didn't have any bobbin thread showing up on the back of my design. Instead of my top tension being too loose, that would mean that my bobbin tension is too tight, and I would need to loosen that. Same on the other side of the spectrum. If I saw, nothing but white thread showing up on the back of my design, that would tell me that my bobbin tension is running a little too loose and that I need to tighten that up. Once I have my tension adjusted and it's set where I think it's going to be giving me a good result, I'm ready to run another H test to make sure that my tension is set properly. Once I'm satisfied with my results, I'm then ready to begin production and begin running my customers' designs on my machine.